to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Let's hit this question. I want to go over a few things to kind of keep this good energy flowing about it. Let's hit this question here that's on the screen. The question is Zion Williamson in the best shape of his career. Remember, this is all, and this is very true, that right around this time, right before the training camps and all this kind of stuff, the major emphasis is on, as far as the Pelicans are concerned, Zion Williamson, his health. Remember, in the past, it hadn't been the same case. Remember, we got hit a couple of years ago. We got hit with the news that he had a foot issue that they didn't break until that the beginning of the season press conference about Zion Williamson. They kind of held that little giblet. But now it appears like we've seen him at the camp that he was holding, and credit to him doing great things out there with the children and all that, running that free camp. That was nice. Really good for him to do that, by the way. This is let's look at and talk about his health situation going into the season, because this is a big deal in terms of the Pelicans getting to the next level with Zion as the centerpiece. Lex, what do you think about his health based on what you've seen? Willie did say that he was that Zion's in great shape, such, but seeing what he looked like on some of those pictures in the video that you're seeing, what do you think about Zion Williamson's health? Is he in the best shape of his career, as the question indicates?
Well, I mean, I don't know about, being in the best shape. All we know is that he's skinny. There's a lot of skinny people that are out of shape.
And it's Zion.
But I'm just stating a fact. But I mean, I feel like he is in shape. He has been working with Amy Atmore all off season.
Physical therapist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that makes a huge difference. It took the Pelicans organization 5 years to get Zion, a player, a generational talent who has a unique body. Okay. No other NBA player has a unique body like Zion. So when you put that in perspective, it took 5 years for the Pelicans to get a physical therapist. Just think if they would have got it for him before he was drafted. Just throwing that out there. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have a number one pick, that all the noise is that he has a unique body, his girth, the power that he has, his quickness, his torque, all that stuff. It's like, are you preparing to get the team that he needs for his uniqueness that's unlike any other NBA player, But yeah, it just took 5 years. It would have been nice to see it, before, but going into this season, Amy Atmore's had an off season with him, a full off season. And so I think because of that and the things that he did coming into the off season, we saw what he did with the Lakers, 40-11 game. He built off of that. I think he's really built off of that. And just, I'm looking at him like, even with his interviews, I feel like he's definitely more focused. I see that in his eyes. Like, he seems like, very, very, very ready. So, obviously he's been a man of few words, but I think just going into this season, like this is an important season. And I know we say that every year. I mean, every year is important, but I think his body and mentally, it had to go through a transition. There had to be some type of transition, because before he was dealing with injuries, they got it to a point, 70 games, they got it to a point, okay, we found something. Right? We found something. How can we build off of this? Like, even though team-wise it wasn't successful, and even in a way with Zion, it may have not been successful because he did not play in the playoffs. But on the other hand, it was successful because 70 games was the most games that Zion has played in his career. Only other season was with Stan Van Gundy, and that was like 61 games. So this was a huge step for Zion. Like, hey, I can last for a whole season. Now the next step is I need to last for a whole season and the playoffs. And hopefully it's not like, getting to the playoffs and getting injured in the playoffs, but just staying healthy throughout the whole playoffs. And I think they're thinking about that. I think that's the thought process. Like, look, hey, man, this is year 6. You got to play in the playoffs. That's like a must. We got you to 70 games, the most games you played in a season. Now we got to get you to the playoffs. We got to make sure you're right. You have to have a mega dega year, all-star, all NBA first team. You got to get that. I mean, it's time. It's time. And all that plays a part into it, because if he's playing like that, if he's having that type of season and going into the playoffs, he's, doing all those things and really stepping it up as far as leadership, stepping it up, growth and development mentally, obviously physically. I mean, it's time for the fan base to see that all put together. And I think, definitely he's got to be ready for it. I mean, this has got to be tiring. Like, come on, man. We gotta have Zion Williamson unleashed.
Yeah, if not any time, this time is definitely the time for it. And I think that's the census across the Pelicans nation. Is like last year, 70-something games. Let's get a full season. We got close. Let's get a full season. The man got right there and got hurt. We would like the Lakers game. We was on our way to beating them in that game when he was unstoppable in that game. I mean, he was running over LeBron, making shots over the top of Anthony Davis. He was balling. We were on our way to winning that game. When he went down, it all went to hell. DC health situation with Zion. What's your take on it, bro, before we kind of move into some of the roster breakdown?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've seen Zion go up and down before in his weight, and you have the pictures come out, and everybody's, "Oh, Zion, look at him." One year he was looking like Bane, and then they pulled it on us another year, and I remember he broke his foot, and then they were like, "Oh, he'll be ready for the start of the season," and he set out a whole year. You know what I'm saying? It's been so many ups and downs with him. But when you really think about it and put everything in perspective, how many normal off seasons has Zion had? 2 of them, he had injury issues, or he ended the season with an injury problem.
Yeah.
Right. His rookie year, he had the lockout year, and you had all of that crazy stuff. And I guess you would say he had that one normal year after his second year, because the season started early after his rookie year because of the COVID thing, and we only played 72 games. They kind of set him out, but he missed 11 games that year, 10 games, something like that. And a lot of them games, I think they just set him out because we didn't really want to compete that year. They knew they were going to fire Stan Van Gundy, right? That was weird, and we went to that with a new head coach. But you say he had a normal offseason, and he got hurt, and then that repeated again. And then you come into like this year, minor injury against the Lakers, and Zion actually had a chance to have a normal offseason. Well, guess what, family? A physical therapist. That's dedicated to him. And you actually brought this up too, Lex. A while back we did a show, and you said the Pelicans weren't ready for a superstar. When I was saying maybe we should take the kid gloves off of Zion, and we should have babied him. That we had to hold it back and forth, right? But you were right. They had no idea what to expect. They were unwilling to push him or have the proper people in place to help manage him. Coach K talked a lot about Zion not being ready in the summer league, and we didn't take heed to that, and he got hurt, right? And And we get so many things, man. He's like, what is his offseason regimen? Why is Zion away from the team all the time? Well, I noticed something when DeJounte Murray got traded here and he was there and Zion was front and center. At that point, to me, like I remember bringing that up on the show, that was a big deal to me because Zion a year or two ago wouldn't have done that. He would have been off somewhere doing his own thing. So for him to actually be locked in, you know, a big part of it is the money too, because we got to talk about that contract. How if he gets over 290 pounds and he's not, I think 10% body fat or 15% body fat or something like that, he don't get his money. So you know he's motivated by that. But I also think Zion was very upset with the way the season ended, and for him, if it's true. I'm not gonna get into people say, well, he's 281 now and he looks like that, and he's never been 284 or whatever all that don't matter. But if it's actually true that he's gonna get to 272, that shows me that he was upset by how that year ended. And he coming back this year and he taking all prisoners, man. He want all the smoke. Zion is gonna have MVP type season if he gets to 271 or 272 or whatever that number that they said he's going to get to. Because I think for him to take all of that weight off, he's going to be so much faster. He's going to jump higher. He's already a veteran now. He's smarter. I know he's learned a lot last year from that Lakers game, those late stretches, and just being able to play 70 games last year, seeing how teams are guarding him. And with the addition to all of the weapons we have on this team, the brother is going to be virtually unstoppable if he gets down to that weight and he maintains this all the way up to the start of training camp, because we've seen these pictures before. We've seen Zion lose weight before and then some type of way gain it back, or you look at him, it's like, well, what happened? You know, or he gets injured and has these setbacks. I think the tide is finally turning, and I think we're gonna be in for something special this year with Zion. Like you said, Lex, his interviews, that started to change probably like a year or so to me. He started to get a lot more short, more focused in his interviews, to the point, no BS. And I think he tired of waiting, you know, and hopefully the Pels taking heed and we can figure out what we're gonna do with our roster to make sure we have everything we need during the season, because we know Brandon Ingram more than likely has to get traded from this team, and we're gonna need the right fit, or at least some nice role players and picks for the future to be able to set us up to have sustainable organic success.
Oh man, that last part, you got real griffy.
Because
With the polarities and the polarities.
he one of the main things messing us up, man. I mean, this could have been fast tracked a long time ago, with so many common sense things that could have been done to where we could be getting this version of Zion probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the mentality was not there. And I've mentioned that many a times. Just when Zion came, you know, and Griff, in a way, he's still holding on to that mentality, because he has not come out and said that this is Zion's team. We're building around Zion. He's yet to do that. And I think and he's beating around the bush too with it, which is really sad. It's like everybody else, I hear everybody else saying like, hey, Zion is the centerpiece. He's the guy we're building around. But the person who really does need to say it, he's not even saying it. We're saying that.
Maybe he don't need to say it. Maybe
he did it with Drew Holiday.
That was actually a lie, though, Lex.
but I'm saying, whether it was we know he's a BSer.
You have permission to dominate. Some guys, you need to give them permission to dominate.
But the thing is, it's like
super weird, man.
when Zion was at Duke, he already had pressure on him. And then when he got to the Pelicans, it's like they rescinded all the pressure. They were like, no, Zion is not the savior of this team.
It might be, you know what?
No, as a number 1 pick, dude, you just lost Anthony Davis. He is the savior of this franchise. You're going backwards with this thing. Oh, we don't want to put too much pressure. See, that started, the attitude reflects leadership.
Right. He didn't want to put too much pressure. But he didn't want to put pressure on him, though.
But the thing is, pressure is how you get a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you also have a guy that doesn't want to put that much pressure on the team at the time because
now
the injury history that was dealing with Zion Williamson.
You got to say it right.
That's
Griff
what happened.
has PTSD because of LeBron. That's what this is about.
That's true too.
It ain't that. He wants all the power. He doesn't want anybody to realize their power. So he rescinds it, and especially by Zion being as young as he is. Who's putting pressure on Griff?
Nobody's putting pressure on Griff.
Pressure. You see what I'm saying? Pressure.
No pressure.
So he can continue. Look, pressure makes diamonds. So if he has no pressure, we know he ain't no diamond.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, anybody who was a real diamond wouldn't talk as much BS. He uses his BS skills to flim-flam. Oh, he flim-flams. He flim-flams with some of the best. The only problem is that being from where we that don't work on us. We go right through all of the fancy talk and the gobbledygook, and we look right at the wins and losses that you accumulated in the time that you've been here, and it's a sub 500 record. So, I mean, you have had Zion Williamson dealing with injury issues over the last several years, which makes him pretty hesitant in putting the crown on Zion as the centerpiece. But now, with how the offseason has been handled so far, you got DeJounte Murray here. They have no choice but to hold on to Brandon Ingram for this year and make moves as such. So the Pelicans going to play it out the way they, what David Griffin says, which gives us the perfect segue to this.
Maybe he won't put that pressure on himself too, Q.
This is true too. DC, no pressure. That's why it's all, he didn't, none of that. Only people putting pressure on the Pelicans front office is people, the diehards. Like me, you, Lex, we all putting pressure on the dude. I calls him out more than anybody, man. And that's what you got to do. You can't be kissing his ass like some of these beat writers do. But anyway, Will Guillory says, I've been told the Pelicans are getting together for a voluntary minicamp in California next week, and the entire roster plans to be in attendance. He tweeted this in the morning, this morning. And this is also another one right here. He says the club is looking, I think Tice is supposed to be there as well. I think it was a report saying that Tice was supposed to be there as well. So that's
I heard Tice is not going to be there. He's the only one that won't make it. So I'm guessing Green, who's our new guy we signed, hopefully he'll be there too. But,
yes,
I know Tice is out. According to yourself, Mr. Will Guillory, you reported that earlier today. I don't know, you forgot. I
think you played that on your guitar, DC. So we all right. But anyway, that's a perfect segue, man, to this article right here, man. Lex enjoyed it. All right, this is Ali. Shout out to Ali Cosell, man. Javonte Green is a smart pickup for the Pelicans. Was one of the best remaining free agents and fits small ball, fast-paced attack, fantastic rebounder at his size. Think Josh Hart, bounty for athleticism, highlight dunks. Yeah, I was looking up the dunks. He's a high flyer. Blocks per 36 minutes and can hit threes, 37% last 2 years. So that's one of the things they talk about. Also, they mentioned that it's a 1-year deal that's fully guaranteed as we kind of move in. So you're getting Javonte Green added to Pelican staff, man, as we move into this unofficial depth chart right here that shows all of the Pelicans players. As you can see him as we kind of light it up right here. They even go into the G League stuff. They talk about some of these guys here, the guys, the Jarrett what is that, Harper? Well, that's old stuff, but DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Javonte Green, Trey Murphy III, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins, Daniel Tice, Yves Misi, Matt Ryan, Uncle Jeremiah, Robinson Earl, Antonio Reeves, Carlo Mekovic. You also have Jamal Cain, Trey Jemison, and they got Malcolm Hill up here. A lot of talent right here. Let's kind of walk it through, fam, if you mind. Let's start with the starters. Y'all could pick as we kind of roll through this thing.
Who started?
The 5 starters currently, according to the unofficial data, they got Zion at the 5 here. But if we use the ESPN model of it, they have DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, BI, Zion, and of course, I think the center is
turn them back blue, Big Q. They're grayed out.
Hold on, I get it. There you go. All right, can y'all see that?
Yeah, sort of. If I get close enough to the screen.
Yeah, highlight them like that. There you go.
Put your glasses on, DC, if you can't see them, brother.
Everybody's not fortunate to have the exuberant studio you have, BQ. Sorry.
The exuberant what?
Studio you have with all those damn monitors.
Well, you did that reggae album in the studio, brother. You had the one you had the 6 songs on.
I shot the sheriff.
Y'all getting off track now.
But I didn't shoot.
One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Ooh.
And I shot the official. I did not shoot the referee.
You can't be shooting officials. That's Lex. Lex is the official.
Right. Or Lex is a referee. I ain't shooting no referees.
She's official. She's an official as well. That's what they call the referees. The officials. They're officials. She's officially a referee. All right, anyway, let's get into it. Now. The 5 starters. Obviously, we talk about the backcourt of the Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, which is perceived to be CJ McCollum. Let's kind of walk down this stuff, if you please. Let's keep a rhythm to it. Let's talk about the.
We gotta fix that shooting guard position. I think they don't know how to pronounce Trey Murphy right.
They don't know how.
Herb Jones could play shooting guard, and Trey Murphy can play small forward.
This lineup is a political lineup, just to let y'all know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a straight up political lineup.
That's all you need. All your money is starting in this lineup, Lex. All your money.
I mean, that's what it is, though. It's politically correct. You know, I mean, they're not going to start Zion at center, but obviously we know that, man, that is just brewing in Willie Green's mind. Oh my gosh, it's brewing. He's salivating everything. But go on, Big Q. What you talking?
Well, they do have DeJounte at the point guard position, CJ McCollum. We talked about this before now. We kind of looked at it, but while I like this because it shows us not only the players, but it also shows, the money that's attached to them. Got pretty much a really good overview of everything. Games, points per game, stuff like that. It shows the money as well. So Murray and CJ McCollum, let's say, you see McCollum at 33 in the third at the point guard, at the off guard position. A lot of people don't have problems with off ball CJ, except for his defense. Offensively speaking, he works with his 3-point shooting. We didn't want to see this lineup because we wanted Herb Jones to be to have that backcourt. That'll be really awesome to see those guys, and perhaps we'll see them at times. But 33 in the third speaks a great deal. A lot of them are predicting that to be, like I said, this is not settled in stone. But let's just look at the potentiality of either of these lineups as we go down to the each player breakdown. So what are your perspective on, Lex, starting with you, DeJounte Murray's impact to the Pelican squad? What do you think and how he plays with this team? What do you think he brings and how he can fix some of the ills that we've seen last year?
I mean, obviously he can give us stability in the closing minutes, closing seconds of a game, just in clutch situations. if things are getting disarray, obviously the game goes through ebbs and flows, ups and downs and things. So he can really step in and be like, okay, hey, let's calm everything down. Let's get set up. You know what I'm saying? Get into a rhythm, pick up the momentum, things of that nature. Because the thing is, even though, this is a running defensive team, the thing is that you will have teams that will try to slow you down. You will have games where the calls are really tight. Like the calls that the referees are calling doesn't even allow you to gain any type of momentum or get a rhythm, a flow to the game. And so when those things happen, a guy like Murray can maneuver through all those things a whole lot more smoothly. Because there's a lot of things that can disrupt the rhythm of a game. So I think the biggest thing is just in the closing minutes, closing seconds, but also just also reading the game, reading the vibe of the game, reading the flow of the game, understanding, okay, we need to get the ball in that man's hands. He needs to touch the ball. I think there was too many times where, Zion would have some things going, and then all of a sudden he didn't touch the ball for like 4 or 5 minutes. And it's like stuff like that's a problem. That's a problem. So I'm really hoping that, hey, reading the game, reading situations, understanding mismatches, that's one thing the Pelicans do not do. They don't take advantage. Well, last season, they didn't take advantage of mismatches, and the veteran teams, the LeBron James and the KDs and the Stephs, teams like those, they can see, I got a mismatch. So guess what? That throws whatever play that y'all had in mind doing, that throws that out the window because that dude right there has a mismatch and we need to take advantage of it.
Hmm.
That's reading the game. You have to read that. You have to understand that. And if Zion is a walking mismatch, y'all see where I'm getting at? You know what I'm saying? Get the ball to that man right there because good things happen. Zion is a willing passer. You know what I'm saying? Use that man's gravity. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to speed around you or back you down or getting downhill. It'll get ugly. And trust me, if 4 or 5 people are on him, somebody open. Somebody going to get the ball. And I hope they're ready to knock down that shot.
Yeah, Lexxah. Yeah, we got a lot of shooters around the dude. I mean, if you look at it like that, you should see the 3-point shooting that CJ McCollum did. Actually, pretty respectable shooting. We just got Trey there. Jordan Hawkins is there as well. And, you got Antonio Reeves. We'll see what happens with him. Matt Ryan's still there. So, I mean, they have some players around. DC, Zion Williamson, man. Let's talk about Zion in the front court. Zion, B.I. Okay. You all right?
ESPN, bro. What was your question? I didn't even hear you, bro. This shit
yeah, it sounded like you slid it. You trying to change some oil. You had the oil pan. You slipped up under the car or something. You're trying to change some oil or something. I don't know. Zion Williams.
I never knew Monday Night Football highlights sound like changing oil, whatever.
That didn't sound like no highlights to me, brother. It sounded like you was changing some oil or whatever. But anyway,
Zion, you need to get your ears tuned up. That's what you need. But what about Zion?
All right. Why you sound like you're in the closet? All right. So anyway, front court. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, front court. DC, who break down the front court for the Pelicans starting 5 in your mind, bro.
Man, that's a real awkward fit, to be honest.
It's discombobulated.
Yeah, it is. Zion and B.I. in the front court isn't the lineup I was excited about when I'm thinking about Zion at the 5. No defense. None at all.
Herb's in it.
Layup line. you know, comes comes to my thoughts on Bi and Zion being in front court. But with DeJounte out there regulating the action, I think offensively that would still be a very dynamic lineup. I just would like to have another shooter out there, unless Bi is going to transform into his 2019 form. But this is a purely offensive lineup anyway, with DeJounte, CJ, Herbert, Ingram, and Zion out there, man. I think it's a way you could exploit a team, but again, like not the version of Bi I seen where he likes to post up on the elbow, man.
Yeah.
Him and Zion in the front court and him doing that, like so is Zion going, when he posts up on the elbow and he's getting into his set and in the half court, Zion's gonna go stand in a dunker spot on the opposite side? Like what is he doing? What are you gonna wait for the rebound? Like nah, that ain't what I want to see. I want to see if you are going to put Zion at the 5 for limited stretches, I would like to see a lineup where you're going to spread it out. Bi can do that, but that's why I mentioned it. He would have to change his game, man, to more of that 2019 form. But then again, he wouldn't have the same green light because you don't want Bi taking a bunch of shots. Like we got all of these guys that need the ball now. Zion is the main guy, right? So everything should revolve around him. So I mean, shit, Bi gonna be power forward, standing in the corner in that lineup.
It is kind of hard to say. Well, no, actually, it's not. I just feel like this is the same situation as last year, but we don't really know what version.
Why do you say it's the same? Though?
Well, as far as the situation, because they didn't get an extension done, so it's still up for that. So it's like we saw how he responded. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, DeJounte, he may change that a little bit, but I mean, I feel like Brandon's game is Brandon's game at this point. I mean, he's been in he's been in the league for like 9 seasons. So I don't know. I mean, I know he's here. They gotta, use him, obviously. But man, like I just feel like the physicality, I don't think it's changed. And when I say that, I'm saying like, how teams got physical with the Pelicans? I still feel like there's not a whole lot of muscle. Mm-hmm. There really isn't. I still feel like
you think it has to be muscle or attitude? I think it's more of an attitude adjustment.
Yeah, Brandon's personality is not going to change. CJ, it's not going to change. That's who they are.
What about DeJounte though? You don't think him being a point guard and we obviously gonna have to run a lot more pick and roll? You don't think that would?
No, I mean DeJounte. I mean DeJounte, like he has the attitude, but I mean, this team needs more, man. I mean, they need more. Think about who he's going up against. Okay.
What about Green, the new cat we signed? What is his name? Javonte Green.
Yeah, he plays.
I hear a lot of good stuff about him. He's like a version of Najee, from what I can see. And Najee Josh Hart hybrid.
The attitude really has to kind of match the physique. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we don't have where both of them meet each other. Like, we have guys where they either don't have that at all, or you have guys that, just have one of them. But then you'd have to, look at matchups because there are some teams that have big guards. But
I'm gonna be honest, Lex. I think Zion has that.
Zion.
I see it as
Zion
it's
got
not
it.
fully
It's part of his
matured.
game.
No, it's not fully matured though. to be there consistently and kind of do some of them things that can turn the game with just attitude, like knowing when to stand down, when to step up, when to get attacked, when to um if he changes or matures, I think that filters throughout the whole team along with DeJounte Murray. But I definitely see what you're saying. I just think it's a question mark. Like I think it can
Yeah.
be different
A lot of
because
stuff is a question mark, DC. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that question
but
mark.
I'm
That's
just
a
saying,
good
like
question.
you don't see it as it can be different with DeJounte Murray. Also, like
I
what I
mean,
was talking about with Brandon Ingram,
think about
his
this.
style of play is different with a point guard that
Even
has the ball in their
but
hands, in
even
my opinion.
when the Pelicans did not have a point guard and they had Jonas Valanciunas, think about this. Teams were still getting very physical with the Pelicans. So now you get smaller, obviously. You actually get some a position that needed to be fulfilled for a long time, but you lose a starting center. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really feel like teams are going to like, hey, this team is actually small. They're small. Like, we can push them around. And let me tell you something. Jose, I love Jose. But Jose ain't gonna be able to handle all that. You know what I'm saying? Or, Javante Green. But it'll just I'm just looking at the fact on how teams are gonna be playing the Pelicans. How can we beat this team? And getting really physical with the Pelicans is definitely the number one thing. Because that's what teams started doing and it was working.
Yeah, that's true, Lex. I mean, yeah, that's Golden State and a lot of that Draymond stuff. Get physical with the Pelicans, gets them out of the element, which is not a good
Yeah,
sign.
it's
Yeah.
I don't see it more as like teams. I mean, I know we're smaller, and do have some teams that can physically impose their will on us because of us being small. But
Yeah. Especially playing
I,
small ball.
I see it more of an attitude adjustment that they need to have. I think we have enough of what we need to not get bullied, but also our style of play. Again, we're looking at teams being big and physical going up against them. We're really fast and switchable. So it's also like a counter we have in the way that it looks like the Pels are going to play. Like if we're on a night where we getting out and running and we getting in transition and they trying to be big and physical, but we still in transition, they can't. So when you start playing the game to where you don't have to adapt to what's being done to you, but what you're doing, the other team has to adapt to. So we got all of these guys now. We still ain't figured out the bench rotation. We gonna have two starters coming off the bench,
We
so
haven't figured out the starting
we ain't
rotation.
figured out the starting
You
rotation.
know what I'm saying?
Right,
Oh,
but
look, because really only two spots are clear to me.
right, but my thing is this: when another team's put their second unit out there, regardless of who our starting rotation is, even if it's CJ and we don't like it or whatever, we still got two starters coming off our bench or whatever we're gonna put together with the other team. I think in the regular season, a lot of these things, you know, I guess not bite us, but in the playoffs, it's always gonna come down to what you're saying, because that's when certain the fouls don't get called even more so. They just letting you play, and if you out there getting mauled or hacked, and you don't have the common sense to, you better dish it back out what they giving you. Then yeah, we're gonna be in the same position we were in last year. But to me, it's more of an adjustment in their thought process and their attitude that they have to have. We small, we gonna be small. I think we can be successful being small, but if they have the same mentality they had last year with what we have and losing JV with a lot of physicality that he brings, that's definitely a huge problem. And I mean, shit, it still is a huge problem because we really don't have a starting center. But
Nah.
for the regular season, we can get by. We really got to look at what they're gonna do with Brandon Ingram and pulling off a trade during the season to try and fill that void, or you got to hold your breath and hope a guy like Yves Mises or our other rookie, I don't know why I can't think of his name, Meritage,
Antonio Reeves.
Mekovic can step up and become, you know, the five that we thought we would need, or he could be, whatever. So
Makovich is considered a rookie.
yeah, he's been a drafting stash.
I mean, but he's played in.
Oh
the
yeah,
G
you know,
League,
yeah, he kind of
yeah. That's why I was like, Antonio Reeves was the only. It was Antonio and Eves, but
yeah, you're right, because he can't. We actually added him to the roster at the end of the season. That's why I'm still thinking him a rookie. Like the last 20 games or something, I think they added him to the roster and sent him to the G League. I don't know why we needed to do that then, but whatever.
It's the Pelicans.
We added him to the roster and didn't allow him to get no playing time in a real game.
Just don't make sense.
Let's kind of look at it. Because y'all mentioned the front court, some of the backcourt stuff. We talked about the center position is not a key person that you can go to. If you got the Pelicans, I mean, yeah, the front court as well. I mean, you know what you got to do. It's a team of it's a situation where you just got to make it work. This is what Willie Green is being given to do, and he got to make it work in his fourth year. The center position, even though the Pelicans,
JRE center minutes. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying, yeah. What happens is,
I keep forgetting that he's on the team.
You got to.
You're not gonna forget what the team start, Lex. Willie Green will remind you.
That's the thing, though. Like, if you have all these players,
a lot of question marks, man.
Jose Alvarado, how he did well off the bench. You got some bench. You got to be able to put together a good bench rotation. You got Jordan Hawkins coming off the bench. You got who else we got? Players coming off the bench.
What happened to you, BQ?
We got what else we got here? Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy's coming off the bench. Perhaps Daniel Tice is coming off the bench. Who knows, man? With the center position, nobody knows. Even though it's speculated that Tice might be the guy that starts, but you take Yves Missi with a pick at some point. Your boy got to be playing Yves and giving him some minutes so he can develop, and hopefully, based on whatever happens with BI, we do have a center that we put a first round draft pick into that you can actually develop right now. So hopefully, Willie Green does provide the man some opportunities, some minutes to play. Now you're gonna see him be a paratroop because he was jumping all over the place in the summer league. We've seen him doing it. So you got a lot of paratroop in him. So you gotta calm that down a bit. But he does run the floor well. He runs the floor very well. He shot blocked. He gets up there. He's a lob threat. So he has potential. So, like I said, it's all based on how Willie do. So let's kind of go through the rest of it because there's still a lot of talent that we have. That's why I like the Pelicans team. The center position is up in the air, and the BI thing is going to linger.
Back up power forward in the center, man. That's when it's kind of weird.
Well, you got four. Take your pick. You got Tice. You got four different types of centers that could help you. Like, even though you made mention of the fact that the Pelicans are small, Yves is 7 feet tall and he runs.
I'm not gonna lie, Q. I'm holding my bet on Mekovic, man. I'm hoping Mekovic pans out to be something. The fact that he can shoot the 3-ball, he has the athleticism.
He has that
kind of guard on the perimeter a little bit. He seems to be pretty smart from what I saw in the G League. He's just got a nice little game to him, man. It hasn't been shown against professionals, and
he played professional, right?
Well, no, I mean like in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
In the NBA. So you're right. You play professional overseas, but it hasn't been shown against NBA vets if he can have that same level of play as he did in the G League and the Summer League. But out of all the centers we have, man, to me, he's the one with the highest upside if he turns into his best version that he could possibly be. So,
So it's a question mark.
everything is a question mark with the center
Okay.
position.
All right.
All of it.
No, I was just summing up what you were saying. So
I say I'm holding my breath on Meritage. I'm hoping.
But who gets the minutes?
Shit.
That's what it comes down to, because
You got to give him a Daniel Tice, man. That's the only one that makes
Daniel
sense.
Tice has
Tice
the
has
most
to have
experience.
20-something minutes.
Tice ain't gonna
He's
be
the
eating
most
up all the minutes, bro.
disciplined.
He ain't gonna be eating up all the minutes because Tice is a
Well,
limited option.
Well, just because you start doesn't mean that you won't get minutes. I mean,
Exactly.
like, and we have to separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Just being named the starter does not mean that you're going to get starter minutes. They've said many a times where somebody will come off the bench and they get starter minutes. You know, so I mean and I think that's a point where a lot of people were even talking about with CJ as far as coming off the bench.
Exactly.
CJ does come off the bench. We all know that he is not going to get a bench role minutes.
You don't want him to.
He's going to get starter minutes. So, you know, you have to separate those two. Like, I think, you know, don't be tunnel vision. Just because you're starting doesn't mean that you're going to get starting minutes. So
you said the backup for DC?
Yeah, I don't like who's gonna take over that Najee role. Najee was basically our backup power forward. Who's gonna be that? Like we gonna put Trey Murphy in that role, or is he gonna be
Jeremiah Robinson Earl?
Is he gonna be starting? I guess
Robinson Earl is the candidate, right? Unless you feel comfortable with Trey. But maybe, you know, but Jeremiah Robinson.
It depends. I don't know what the starting lineup is, because if Trey and Herb is on the bench, then yeah, it would have to be Trey. Right. But
they ain't gonna do that.
What's the starting lineup? So it's like
it's a question mark,
right?
You know, that's one thing.
Really know. Are they looking at Meritage? Meritage is a guy. He's a center, but I could see him as a power forward too. I think he could play that like a. Man,
do you think Meritage is going to get more minutes than Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Willie Green's system?
Q, I'm saying I'm trying to be hopeful and
I'm just asking questions, brother.
The way I would like it to go. No, I don't trust Willie to not lean heavily on JRE, but that ain't what I want, and I don't think that's the best decision for our team. Although he's not a horrible player, so the brother is not garbage. So,
no,
but I just think we have better options, and we got other guys that need minutes over him. And to me, he's more of a, if things don't work out, you put him in. You're looking at Matt Ryan, man. I mean, is he still going to be on the team? Because we just signed Green, so they might let Matt Ryan go. I don't know what's going on with that.
You know what? That dude ain't going to know what to do with this roster.
He not, Lex. But I mean, all right. What if he gets the starting lineup right? Then I
every
think
time you name a person, I'm like, oh man, they ain't gonna get in the game.
You gonna figure this out?
Like, man,
ain't got no choice. We got to figure it out.
It's kind of hard to mess it up though, in a way though, Lex, because you got two guys. That's gonna be. You got two guys that's gonna be starters that have to come off the bench.
So. Last season was a season where both Brandon and Zion were available. Like most of the team was available. And you know what? That dude never figured it out.
I mean, he got 49 wins.
He got a few.
They say he didn't figure nothing out.
He did all right, Lex.
Based off the talent. You know what I'm saying?
But if the talent wasn't on the floor, it can't be utilized.
I mean, listen, what could...
You see, you ain't helping nothing here, brother.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I don't think his rotations were as bad as I've seen them be before. Like,
yeah,
I've seen his rotations be worse than they were
really
last
did.
year.
That's what I'm saying. My point is, let's not pretend like the brother ain't getting better, a little bit getting better. Murray's going to have an impact with Willie.
It's incremental.
It's incremental, right? So what I'm saying is, how big is his fourth year? Right, this is his fourth NBA season. I hear you go, Lex. Here you go with the pick and roll stuff. Here she goes.
No. Okay. Imagine taking a step forward, okay?
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna take a big step forward. Yeah. Okay.
A big step.
Yeah.
But then you take 2 steps back. Is
That
that
ain't happening.
progression?
Oh, we dancing, baby. We
That ain't
dancing.
happening.
Because that's what he was doing.
We doing a
He
Cupid
found
shuffle or something.
something. He went away from it, got worse. Then it was like, take 5 steps. We're back to the original step. You know what I'm saying? That you got to, but it's like, no, you're stagnant. You didn't progress.
We have. We will. We will.
Hey, I hope so, man. Look,
We will.
Willie, man. I just keep going back to the DeJounte Murray presser.
I'm saying, even though
that dude didn't even advance in the playoffs, and when you saw him, that dude looked like he aged like for 10 years or something. Why did you age? And it's only been 2 months, dog.
Because he's been studying tape, Lex.
I think the man was.
No, you don't stress over studying tape.
Man was constipated, man. That's what it looked like to me.
Oh, Q said he was constipated. God damn.
That's what he looked like to me. He was constipated up there.
Why did he age?
My bottom line is what I'm saying about the whole situation with Willie Green is it's simple. You can't. Lex, I know you don't
love all the problems the way Q. That's what you was saying.
No, DC, cut it out, okay? All right, you can't love this thing away. It takes skill and it takes proper planning. And what I'm saying is, at the end of the day,
it takes compassion and joy and mindfulness. That's what it takes.
Excuse me, sir. All I can say is this: he has the talent this year. He has a point guard that'll operate the team. You can't take that away from him. DeJounte Murray means a lot to this team because he makes sure everybody stay where they need to be, and that everybody at the right times of the game get the ball in the right and proper positions. He brings higher IQ to what the Pelicans had before. Remember, they were lacking this last year in those pressurized situations when the Pelicans were taking those terrible, stupid ass shots. When they would have a floor general out there, a lot of these games where the Pelicans let get away with them would have been wins. That's what DeJounte he solves a lot, not all of it, but he solves a great deal of it. Plus the fact that, I'm not a supporter of CJ being in the starting lineup, but if CJ is going to be there, he does bring the 3-point shooting. He is an issue defensively. But if that is indeed the case, and you have whether it's Yves or is it probably Daniel Tyson there as the starting center, that does put Trey, Herb, with Jose off the bench. So that's 3 guys off the bat, right? That is pretty good. Plus, if Willie uses Uncle Robinson Earl in any capacity, you still have those other bigs.
Put Hawk in there?
I mean, he's a part of it too. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You have a good 4 or 5 guys off the bench. You can go 5 or 5 if you're really talented. But once again, and then there are other players that we're not talking about. So hold on, DC. Let me.
Not going 5 for 5, bro. You can get it.
Hold on, brother. Listen,
for like 3 years, bro. It ain't gonna happen.
No, brother. He was doing it a little bit several years ago. We had a couple of them going, and that he did have a little 5 for 5 rotation.
Everybody was injured.
When people started getting injured, but he had a deep bench, and we was talking about the Pelicans have beats. That's how he developed some.
And then when they got healthy,
Jose Alvarado, Najee Marshall was all those guys that came up off that bench and developed into solid players for the Pelicans, brother. And then that's the same principle he has to use. But in year number 4, he has no choice but to expand his roster because he got players that he has to develop, that has to see time. So this is going to be a difficult coaching job for Willie Green, but that's the kind of side news. But the good news is that he has the talent to coach with. I mean, like I said, it means a lot when you have a really good point guard, and this guy used to be, he's an off guard in his place, but he's a head coach with a somewhat of a guard mentality, with a guard there with him to kind of speak his principles to help guide this team. So, I mean, in the end, I see it as a benefit. I do. I don't think the man gonna turn into some top 5 or top 10 coach. But what I'm saying is, it does mean something positive that you do have proper pieces you could be able to utilize depending on the imagination of the head coach. That's what it comes.
Can I ask you a question? Because you made an interesting point there.
I always do, brother. Just go ahead and fire.
He won't be a top 5 or top 10 coach. So where would you rank Willie?
I said, bro, listen, we ain't gonna talk about that right now. We keeping it strictly
Bottom five.
okay? We're gonna let the flock in the chat rank them, okay? We're gonna let the flock rank them, all right? Let the flock rank them.
Yeah.
All right. We already know what Lex don't even have to say.
Don't.
Lex don't have to say. Willie don't like Willie Green.
Damn.
All right, so how about let me throw a few of these other guys at you as well, fam.
That's a very polite way, Big Q, of saying you got him ranked somewhere in the high 20s.
I didn't say any of
that.
Oh wow! Hey, read what Stacy said.
Stacey says,
nah, surely they got to be at least 3 coaches worse than Willie. At least.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. But see, it's like I said, it's a team
He's
effort.
the number one motivator, though. I'll give him that.
He's a team effort. It's a team effort.
He?
Not the guys. Yes, it is.
He used to be.
Yes, it is.
He's a one-trick motivational pony. No.
Well, you know what, Lex? Willie does get everybody on the team brought in defensively. So I mean, I have to give
him because Brandon admitted that he didn't. He wasn't bought in.
DC, ranking down on your coach is not a good attribute, brother. You doing that, ranking down on your coach. When it's the only one you got. When he's the only one you got. So at the end of the day,
assistant coaches. I ain't say nothing bad about them.
I'm saying your head coach right now, brother. That's
just had an assistant coach in the Big Three. Was the defensive player of the year, man. We got some hell of a coaches.
Yeah, but he an assistant. He's a positional guy. He's not. He has no impact. He has no impact on what's going on, like at the higher level. I mean, he might have a comment or two in there, but Willie Green's the head coach. He got a top assistant.
Yeah, it's like this: who's the better coach, JJ Redick or Willie Green?
Willie Green.
A tough one. Nah, for real. I'm gonna take Willie Green over
JJ Redick never did it before.
I can't even clown like that. I'm taking Willie Green over JJ.
Oh, that's a tough one. You see, I thought you was a down-hard Pelican, man. We never give nothing to the Lakers. Come on, man. Give nothing to no Lakers, man. JJ Redick never done it before. He talked his ass off on television.
Splitting hairs.
Splitting hairs. Willie Green.
Appreciate you.
Y'all guys are something else. Okay, let's talk about some of the other guys that could be possible before we get into the 3 questions politely provided by Lex. Let's talk about thought processes on guys like Jamal Cain. Let's go Jamal Cain. We talked about Javonte Green, but he's to me like the player with a lot of the X behind him. We know we seen what Antonio Reeves could do. We seen him in early on. What's the thought process on guys like Jamal Cain? What do you guys think that Cain adds, or Javonte Green? Those guys add to the Pelican squad. Will they be able to make an impact to the team? I know Green averaged 12 points a game. I was watching film on Jamal Cain
over his last 9 games. Make sure you say that part.
Yes.
I was like, wait, he went average 12 points a game. I saw that too. I went and looked up. I was like, oh man, that was over his last 9 games.
Yeah, that was on the little chart I just put up when I was showing the Pelicans roster, was showing that he did average 12 over 9 games. So
I like him though. I like him a lot. But,
okay, what do you think about him or Jamal Cain? What's your thought process on him?
Jamal Cain is the backup plan if he not working out. Basically, it's 2 similar guys. You got, we trying to stock up that wing position, man, which tells me they really are obviously, looking to trade Brandon Ingram. So they want to have some wings still there. And once we lose Brandon Ingram, we already lost Najee Marshall. You got to have somebody in case of injury. I think we're just stocked, man. I'm really intrigued to see coming out of the training camp, going into preseason, what guys are going to be activated and, out there getting some minutes, because Jamal Cain, from everything I saw with the Heat, man, as well as Green, these are 2 players that when you look at the opposing teams and a lot of their fans, they both were extremely upset to lose these guys. And they had nothing but positive things to say about them. Jamal Cain made a lot of flashy plays, similar to Green. He's got some bounce to him. Pretty solid defender. He has some games where, he really jumped off the page in the G League and all that. But as you can see during the season, I mean, the man averaged 3.7 points. It's all potential and woulda, coulda, shoulda, what he could do or could be. Is that potential going to be realized? And Green, I think I would say, is a little further ahead than him. So this guy, Jamal Cain, I think is basically like breaking case of emergency, man. I mean, he's got a two-way spot for us, so he's not on the active roster. Javonte Green, on the other hand, he's been doing it and doing it pretty good for the Bulls. Over the last 4 years, he's been there. He reminds me a lot of Najee. I do remind me a little bit of Josh Hart when I see him rebounding, man, because he's not that big. What is he about? They got him listed at 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
And he's in there with the trees, man, getting boards. You know what I'm saying? So he averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds over the last 9. So it's like, if you're going to lean into small ball, this is a guy you want. You know what I'm saying? And he's a really good perimeter defender on top of that. In transition, man's a highlight reel. He can jump out the gym, put somebody on a poster. He's improved his three-point shot with 37% over the last 9 you see there. He got a nice little corner three. He ain't nobody you could put in and, expect him to be Trey Murphy or nothing, but I think he can fill that Najee role, man. And we might not miss a whole lot of what Najee did by signing this guy, man. So him at the power forward, which I've read that he's played some minutes at, I don't know how I feel about all of that. It's a little too deep in the small ball. But he's listed as a guard and probably a 3. I could see him playing that 3 position, man. But you got him. Is Herb going to be on the bench? You know what I'm saying? Is Trey going to be on the bench? So, we're not going to play him at 3. Are we going to put Javonte Green at guard? Like, is Matt Ryan going to be here? Is he going to play? Is Hawk going to give some minutes? Like, it's come on, Q. You got to see why Lex is saying she don't trust Willie. We have an abundance of riches and talent, bro. But it has to be formulated and placed together properly for us to maximize it, because we got a lot of guys in the same spots. They do different things, but they're in the same position groups.
Well, DC,
and a lot of them are good.
We got to get
like, how are we going to get our best people on the court and match up well?
Well, it depends. It depends, because we got to go through preseason. We got to find out who's ready to ball, who can play. And get it all set up.
Unless we're making a move, man. I just the way the team is constructed, I could see the Pelicans making a move before the preseason even gets here. And I think Matt Ryan's contract is, if we get rid of him, is what, $2 million or something like that? That
2.1.
2.1 that they can get back.
2.2. Yeah.
That they can get back. They can basically release him before the official start of preseason.
Shooters, man.
Well, look at all the guys we got, Lex, and it's like so many. You got at least 3 good guys here that probably won't get any minutes.
This roster is a huge question mark.
No, it's not.
If they play Javonte Green and Hawk and Jose,
Lex, you're just looking at the center. That's what you're looking
at. And Trey Murphy, where's Matt Ryan gonna get minutes?
Are you for real?
You're looking at the center, right?
No.
What you looking at? Lex?
I'm looking at everything, and I'm looking at the mentality of the head coach of this team.
Oh, we already been there though. We just talked.
But I'm just saying, it is a question mark. Listen, let's go back to the presser. It's going to be challenging to find minutes.
Come on, Lex, you got
it. But you know what he meant by that. He was talking about how talented the team was. That's what he was speaking.
The team is talented, but the thing is that, look, like if the game needs a shooter, for Willie Green, he's gonna interpret that, hey, let's put defense in there. Like, that's not what that meant. Okay? I mean, it's not hard when you know your personnel. When you know your guys, when you know who has the best synergy. Let's think about this. Zion and Trey Murphy had the best synergy, but he did not really have them playing together. He had Trey Murphy subbing in for Zion. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like how did you not know that? That's obvious, right? And so if you're not doing what's obvious, the things that are not obvious, you expect me to believe that this dude's gonna get it right, and he couldn't even have them two dudes playing.
I'm saying, Lex, what no, what you're saying is facts, and I'm saying that was an issue, and he had a lot of issues last year getting stuff together. But like I said, he did some positive stuff where you were able to get the team to win 49 games. So I mean, he had some positive stuff. His adjustments needed some work. His feel of the game needs a lot of work. A lot of his game period needs a lot of work.
Away, Big Q, we're gonna love it all the way.
Hold on, brother. I'm just saying at the end of the day is Willie Green is under pressure to win. He is. Is Willie Green. He has a very talented team.
Designed it that way too.
That's right. Now y'all starting to see where I'm going with this whole situation when we talked about Willie Green. The octopus is notorious. He's diabolical. That's why he's basically a comic book supervillain that works for the Pelicans, because you've seen Trajan Langdon. He left to Detroit. Bryson Graham is not going to get any slack if the Pelicans go south of 49 wins. It all falls on Willie Green. So this is what I'm saying. And people say, Q, are you, and like Lex just asked, say, Q, are you serious about the roster? No, yes, I'm serious, because I've been saying this the whole time, is that the pressure is on Willie Green. The signing of DeJounte Murray, the BI fiasco, that was outside of his hands. That was up to the octopus to get that deal done. BI didn't want to relent on his $50 million. So he has to make Zion, DeJounte, and all these guys work. He has to figure out his rotations. And then Borrego, who wanted to coach, looking at Detroit and Cleveland, guess what? Guess what happened to Borrego? He comes back to the Pelicans. So if Willie fails and can't get beyond where he needs to get this team where it needs to be, he's going to fall on the chopping block, and Borrego's going to pick it up. That's why I was saying that the stubbornness that Willie Green had, that he exhibited the first couple of years, when you're a desperate man and you face some pressure, all of that shit goes out the window, a great deal of it, all the stubbornness and all this kind of stuff. The Saints are going through it right now with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is trying to remake his image to be the cool guy. He's doing his accountability stuff, all the stuff we talked about for years. They starting to do that now because he under the gun. When you under the gun pressure, you under pressure. So a lot of the habits that you usually do, because you was being hard headed like Willie was, a lot of that shit got to go out the window. Because a lot of the guys that Willie was over relying on aren't here anymore. So that's why I was telling people he has no choice but to adapt or go. That's what it is. He has to coach up. He has to coach his best year. He got to coach up at the highest level that he's ever done it in these last 3 years that he's been a coach. He has to be the best that he can be. It's 4 years in. It's time for him to show and prove. That's why I said,
based off everything you said, BQ, I think Willie gonna get fired during the season.
Okay, well, you saying
all that
brother.
Pressure is gonna bust a pipe, because it's either that or Willie Green is about to turn into the next Greg Popovich. Like, I mean,
or create a diamond, DC. That's what you're saying. You're saying that, or create pressure either burst pipes, or it creates diamonds. That's it's a 2-lane street right there. Either it's one or the other.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans.